We'll stick with the Bulldogs here as we talk about a guy who Georgia did land today officially, and that's Jaden Harris, who was a former defensive back at the University of Miami, and he's reuniting with UGA safeties coach Travaris T-Rob Robinson, who recruited him to Miami. Now, Miami fans, if you do a quick search on Twitter, Miami fans did not approve very much of the season that Jaden Harris had. He did struggle for the Hurricanes this year, but a guy that both you and I before the season were high on for Miami. He's a smart kid, physically gifted. Safety, I don't know if maybe corner might be the better position for him moving forward. Is long, can run, but at safety this year was out of position a ton, seemed to be lost a lot pre-snap. New place for him here. I think the switching of sceneries could be a really positive thing for his career.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. So T-Rob recruited him out of a small school in Atlanta, Georgia as a cornerback, right? So is that where he's going to return? Has his body just gotten too far down the road? He's too muscled up to play at the corner position. We'll see. He's played nickel at Miami as well. So very interesting to see what role Georgia has in mind for Harris. Could it be that star position, right? You don't know. That's part of what makes this take intriguing is obviously Travaris Robinson sees something in Harris that's more than what he gave on the field this season. Maybe from his high school recruiting, maybe just from the vision he has for the player and how he could be used. That's different from what he did at Miami when he was very much a pure safety. You look at the PFF grade, 57.5 rating on defense, and it honestly looked worse than that when you saw it in person. It just size, speed, effort, someone that I thought was going to have a very big year for Miami. The game against Florida, the first game, he was ACC Defensive Back of the Week, was outstanding. And then it just kind of dropped off after that. He was in his head a little bit as far as open field tackling and just some indecisiveness, recognizing patterns when it comes to running, to routes in front of his face. I think going to a guy like T-Rob, Kirby Smart, you can't be in a better situation as a defensive back to rehab. He can also help you on special teams with his ability to run down the field. He's a willing tackler. He's physical. Again, the tackling problem was not the physicality. It was more of just gearing down and being in a position to tackle as opposed to, angles, things like that. It wasn't like willingness. It's not a soft player. So I think speed, willingness, the ability to be physical, great kid also. So there's none of that issue. You're Georgia. You lose out on a Zachariah Poyser from Jacksonville State, who you wanted at safety, ended up going to the University of Miami. Ethan O'Connor, another battle that didn't go your way, to the Canes. If I'm Georgia, I'm wondering how are we not getting these guys? Georgia is Georgia. They've been putting NFL defensive backs out every single year. T-Rob's been doing it his whole career. So, I'm probably a little puzzled that I'm not winning some of these battles in the defensive backfield. Julian Humphrey, he was benched and then goes on to Texas A&M. A little different situation. But, I'd expect to see Georgia crank up the recruiting here in the secondary. They have young guys that need to play. Ellis Robinson, of course, foremost among them. KJ Bolden, one of the best in the country. But I don't know. I'd expect a little more from Georgia in the portal here. And maybe that's to come. Maybe that's in spring. Maybe they just want to get their young, talented players. They've been the best recruiting program in the country now for a while. Maybe they just want some of their young guys to get a bigger role. But this one to me is more of just, hey, can we use him differently than he was used in Miami and get more out of him?